I'm spending this whole week dedicated to throwing over 500 feet. And to do that, it might be helpful to have a guy who can himself throw over 600 feet. Bro.
What's up? How are you?
So we made it back to his place, about to start the first training session, but before we do that, we need to set like a baseline video and have Drew rate my form. It's gonna be bad. We were talking a little bit about it on our way here after he picked me up from the airport. We grabbed some food. But he's like, yeah, your head, your shoulders, your legs, your torso, your feet, basically every part of your throat is jacked up. So hopefully we can fix the little pieces first and kind of go sequentially, but I'm interested to hear like kind of how the process is gonna go, because I'm gonna be here for 3 full days. Today's gonna be a half day of training and Friday's gonna be a half day of training. And we'll see if we can get me up to that 500 foot mark. That's kind of my secret goal for this week, is to see if I can throw 500 by the end of it. But if it's just the start of a form rework and it continues to take the rest of the off season, it's gonna suck for next week because I'm playing Battle for Bedford. Otherwise though, it should still be fine. But before we get into that, I think Drew knew I was coming because he put up a sign for me. I am like excited and nervous to have Drew like completely roast my form. I appreciate that you put up that sign for me in your garage.
What's it say?
The airplane's one? Yeah, I appreciate that, dude. It's just preparing it because it's a slow-mo file.
Is that how slow it is? You do throw pretty slow.
I thought you were supposed to help me, dude.
I am helping you.
Acceptance is the first
yes,
part.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that what they say? If you're like an alcoholic, you gotta admit you have a problem before you can fix it?
I don't know, man. It's in the 60s.
It was on coverage.
You only throw 690 feet, so...
I think I've thrown 81, but it was on Central Coast. Like it was during a round. That I threw 81.
Where was it?
Portland Open.
Just had to win that one. See, if you throw 80 more, you win more tournaments.
I know.
It's just like a bunch of throws, so that way
Okay.
you can scrub through and look at kind of whatever you want to look at. But yeah, I just want you to kind of give us the rundown of what we're going to be looking at this week.
So overall, I mean, obviously if you guys have followed or watched along with Anthony, he's made a lot of like good progression, right? I mean, you've done a good job like on your own of like learning and like understanding and getting to a point where like you could cash, you could do certain things, and like obviously that's giving you the ability to play with Simon and be here. Like the things you've done have from the baseline have been really good actually. Now it's like time to take it to the next level, but taking it to the next level, the next level is like diagnosing these like things that you're doing. So I mean, first off, I just think like we could probably just start wherever this is like you being in like this position. Yeah. Like you're forward, your head's tilted, your shoulders are at like a pitch, your feet.
What do you mean by the pitch?
Like, instead of like, so if you're a T, right, or an airplane, and your wings are like this, you're pitched. Yeah. You're pitched. So, like, your shoulders are like this, right? Mm-hmm. Or more like this. Yeah. Like, what that does is that creates your whole entire rest of your body to be pitched. Whether you think it or not, you can't just turn your shoulders and not your head and not your spine, and then now your hips start getting out of alignment, and then this last step here is really long. Here, your feet look much better than like when we were texting. Mm-hmm. Is this after we had texted? A little. I think also they will shift. Okay, yeah. So like here, you can see Anthony's feet are pointed outward, which is good if you're trying to do... I'll show him the picture that you texted me. Yeah, certain activities, but like for the most part, this position just robs power. So you can see that Anthony's feet are like staggered, which is like what everyone talks about and what you have to do to get your hips engaged. But when your feet are twice as far apart as your shoulder width, and then your feet are externally pointed, it's really hard for you to actually use your hips, even if your feet are in the right position. And I live like 40 minutes from the airport. One of the things I was telling you is like one thing can like create bad in all of the rest of the things. So I think your feet being the opposite way automatically creates no power. And then your feet being that far apart creates even less power. And then you leaning forward creates less power. So it's like, but it's compounding from your feet being that far apart. Like you couldn't be in that position if you stood with your feet together. Yeah. So your feet being that far apart is what like creates this like bad habit that you're having. So it's, and you're saying that like every sport talks about athletic stance. Yeah. Like that's something that you need to have, and that's like this is in a throwing motion is athletic motion, and so that is very much not an athletic stance. And so he sent me, this is the picture actually that he had sent me just from a reel that I posted because we were just talking about form, and in this, gotta block your eyes, kids. Stop seeing it. You can see how my feet are like very much not aligned. And then the next picture he sent me, let me make sure it's not something inappropriate. He's texting me all the time. If you see where his feet are, they are very much in alignment of like
here, and my feet are like here. And I actually noticed that my feet tend to, or my back foot, like plants, and then it twists before I plant my last foot, which is maybe because I'm striding along or something that Drew's going to tell me to figure out. But this picture that you sent me is basically what spurred me coming here this week. Because this was like Friday.
Yeah.
And it's Monday today. And then he was talking about wanting to do swing coaching. And I was like, what if we actually did it? How much would it actually cost? And so now I'm here. And it's going to happen. And if he doesn't, and he said it's a money back guarantee if I can't throw 500 by Friday.
So, like, here's some, like, good things.
He didn't dispute that. This is a good win for me.
Yeah. And I told him if he throws it $520, that it's double the price.
He said, he remembered.
It's going to go right to my taxes. But, like, this is where you're, like, in a good position. Like, your front leg's pretty straight, what people call the brace. Your foot is up, so you're not, like, dragging your toes and, like, slowing yourself down. Your disc is just relatively out of your hand, and your back foot's off the ground. But that lends to you being so far forward. So what you see with a lot of players and a lot of FPO players is they end up being on their back leg a lot. Which then, obviously, if your weight's back, you're not getting it into the disc because it's too far back. So I just think that my opinion then on this, and like the top pros in the MPO side of the sport, almost every one of them, their back foot is already up off the ground before the disc is even thrown. Like you see videos of me, like even if I'm throwing soft, like my back foot's off the ground, and because I've transferred all my weight onto the front, but in a equitable way to where I think you transfer your weight way too early, so you're not actually even loading. Like it's from pushing back forward is what you need to do to fill the disc, and you're moving forward before it is even like relatively needed. But like there are some good things like
my upper body is moving forward before my lower body.
Yeah, and so you're getting again, if you walk through the mall, right, you're not gonna like start leaning all types of ways and like doing weird stuff. You're just gonna walk straight and like do it without even thinking about it. Then if you look a direction and try to walk straight, you're gonna eventually kind of veer that way. Yeah. It's just the way your body works. So when your head is in like the position it was in here, you're like your head is like pulling you this way. So like if you see me or Simon, it's almost the other way. Yeah. Like, you know, your head position, like, is here.
It goes with your shoulder. Because mine is kind of going against that front shoulder.
Yeah, you're, like, going like this.
I've heard you talk about, like, if you are here, like, you need to, like, your head goes with your shoulder.
So I always tell people there's, like, a fist, you know, and, like, right here, you're up against your arm, which means your head is way too far this way. Yeah. So there needs to be, like, a respect there of this area is what I would call it. So you're going here, and then it follows it back, obviously, until it breaks off, which would be obvious.
Do you think that's, like, looseness? Because I probably... Like, that to me makes me think, oh, I'm just so tight up here, like, really wanting to, like, tighten up.
Yeah, but it's not because, look, you can turn your head that way.
I know, but that would be, like, a looser position, yeah?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's just a conscious position of, like, where your head's going to be, because that dictates a lot of what you're doing. Like I said, you walk and you look right, you're going to eventually walk right. So your head is pulling you forward, even if you don't recognize it. And now, like I said, you can see your shoulders here are pitched down, your head's this way, your spine is on the right side of your body pulling you more left, and there's not like much weight on this back leg. Like you can see your weight is forward, which in this position you want to be braced in the middle and or even a little bit back, ready to push off and go forward. So that's like the main thing I want to work on with you is getting these positions like, or I'm just gonna call it a tolerance because it's not a position you have to be in. I want you to
think there's a range of acceptability.
Yeah, of course. So this for me might not be good for you because you maybe want to be a little closer, but like what you're doing is not like touching is not good. Like that's
like if I was centered and everything was good and my head was there, it wouldn't be
the end of the world. But like that's what we were talking about when we were walking into lunch today. It's like I want you to understand that like none of the things I'm saying, I'm acting like this is the only way to do it. Like I think that there's plenty of great players that have good form and throw the disc great and don't do it how I would teach you. But I think that what I do teach is neutralism. Is I want you to be as neutral as possible. That way, when your lie sucks, or the tee pad's slippery, or it's raining, the neutralism equals out. You're not like having to battle all like this in the wind, or not the wind. Sorry, the rain. Your feet that far apart.
I slip a lot.
You're not stable at all because your feet are so far apart. No one's ever been like, all right, get ready, and like someone like does the splits. Like that's not like a stable position, and it's like It's not bad, but also that's like the width that like James Conrad would be, who's 6'5". You know, you're
5'6".
Yeah,
the exact opposite. So change those numbers, baby.
You know, but like I think that a lot of the things, like I said in starting this video, like I think you do a lot of the things really well and you have a good understanding. I just think you need to like realize that like some of these tolerances, for lack of this like boot camp, need to be like fixed with like the common goal in mind. Like, I'm not fixing it because I want you to look a certain way.
Yeah.
I want to fix it because I think what you're doing is hindering your positions of, like, actually creating power. So, like, if we go back here, pretty good. Like, steps or whatever to me. From this point right here forward is where, like, the throw is important. So, pretty good position. A little too much, like, wrist like this.
Okay.
Like, you're kind of like...
Like, maybe a little more neutral. Okay.
Yeah, like, I just want you to hold it like you would hold...
Like, just being comfortable.
An iPad, right? Like, if I hand you this, you're not gonna... That's not how you're gonna hold it.
Hey, we're texting real fast.
But, like, you just want to hold it to where, like, you're... Because what... So, here's the thing. You start using your wrist like that.
Yeah.
Well, if it starts in this position, it has to uncoil at some point because you can't throw like this.
Yeah.
So, what you do is you just create a whole nother hinging. And there's a point of, like, Matty O, again, hinges the crap out of it and throws it great.
Yeah.
But, like, we're not trying to teach you like Matty O. We're just trying to get you in the best position. So, like, we want a little bit of wrist.
Yeah.
But we don't need you, like, turning it down. So, like, again, the position with the elbow and everything, like, pretty strong position. Your off arm's in, like, a good spot.
What do you think about when in this position, what do you think about, well, actually, we're not to my next step yet, so I would say, because I think I coil my upper body against my next step too early. Like,
so, I mean, let's just, like, get through this. Yeah. So, your reach back is going in at a good pace, but look at how forward you are. Like, look at your head. Your head is like this. Like, I can't even honestly, like, get in that position that you're in. Like, it's... But, like, your head is so far over your front shoulder here. Yeah. Like, your nose is in line with, like, your freaking socket of your shoulder. Which, like, right now, your head should be, like, almost facing the disc. You should be, like, here. With that space. Yeah. And so you're the exact opposite. So now you're not... Like, your shoulders somehow are turned pretty strongly, but your head is this way. Which would lend me, like you just said, is it...
Feels tension.
Yeah, but, like, you're creating that. Yeah. Because you're meant to be...
tension that can uncoil into the disc. Tension that's against it.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So if you go like this, your body is meant to work like this, right? That's like... And so when you start doing this, you're using your body parts the wrong way. Like, no thing, like... Even if you check your blind spot in the car, right? You still kind of, like, turn your... Yeah. You're not, like, an owl. And so here, you're, like, having your head not only... facing the wrong way, but also like tilted, which is pulling you this way. Like I said, you tilt your head without you even knowing it. Your body weight is going to shift. Like it's just the way your body works. So you're having this like thing already kind of happen here where you're starting to lean towards the target, and then you get to this position, which I really like. This your foot's down and you're at the back of your reach back. Yeah. Like that position right there, minus your head.
And how wide? Yeah,
but again. If that's the way you throw, we can like work on that with like the other things. Okay. Your off arm's out of the way in a good position. Your shoulders are turned. Your hips, if you had your feet a little closer together, would like help your hips engage a little better. Yeah. But again, I'm not gonna like nitpick that because everyone's thing is different. I think yours is too big, and we're gonna work on that. But I don't think it's like way too big. Okay. I think it's like 2 shoe prints if totally. Too big. So not much. So that's not but like this position right here is like very good. Your disc is out, so you're not rounding. Your wrist is perfectly flat, but like from this to this, again, that wrist angle and arm angle is not going to be like the same every time, no matter what. It's just because you already have moved it so far. But like that picture, if that was posted on Instagram, I'd think, wow, that person probably has like pretty good form. Let's work on their head. But like then you get to like this position here where you can see you didn't even turn. You just went forward. Like you haven't even turned your body yet, and you're already like pulling the disc. Yeah. Which is fine, but then you get to this position, and look at that position. That is just like above the power pocket.
Yeah, the wrist is above the elbow.
Yeah, so you're way up here, and you're just pulling across your chest. If I were to elbow you, right, this would be weak, this would be strong, like through the core of your body. So you're pulling from like where you're the weakest. If there was a rope and I said pull hard, you're not going to pull from your eyes. You're going to pull from down low.
I got really good rotator cuffs, Drew.
Okay, well, it'd be even better if you used them correctly. But anyways, like this position, but like again, look at your head. Your whole body weight is over here. Yeah. You're almost at this point dragging however much that left leg weighs. You're just dragging it. Yeah. So you've created all this power. But like you're having this issue of like getting around because you're leaning so far you can't lean and twist. It's very hard, especially like in the motion we're doing. So you're hindering.
Because you're kind of going. Because if I'm leaning this way and trying to twist against that, and my hips are down here.
Yeah, your axis.
You have to like break your body.
Yeah, your axis of your center of gravity just isn't gonna work around itself in this position. So,
do you think from the first position that you talked about, that you said you liked here, to that next position, do you think this like elbow, the upper body is just starting to go too early? The elbow needs to do this, not this. Like, you need to pull it, like, along the line, if that makes sense. Because here's the thing. Yeah. You have to get... So here's my body, right? Mm-hmm. This elbow needs to pass your rib cage. Mm-hmm. And then you turn. And now look. So, like, you take a disc, right? Yeah. You can't make a straight line, actually. Because the disc would have to go through your arm. Totally. So there's some type of, like, hinge. Out and out. Yeah, which your elbow, your shoulder, your wrist, like... So what I do is go here, right? And now look. My elbow is past my rib cage. Mm-hmm. Now this all turns. And now look at the straight line I can make. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like, this has to pass here, because I can't do this, right? I can't pull it into myself. Yeah. And your body doesn't And the way that my shoulder is working, if you, like, watch just the back of my shoulder, it's kind of going from here to here, like, down.
Yeah, you're just pulling. Yeah. You're pulling, you're not... So, like, in golf, too, right? If I go here, and I just swing my arms... Yeah. No, that's not what you're going to go swing from across the ball. Now, if I go here, and I turn only my body, now look at... I'm squaring up the club face to the ball. So, the same thing in disc golf, right? If I go here, you're in a great position there. But then you just go like this. Like, you just kind of sling it, and then this all gets out of position. If you go here, and you turn your body, instead of pulling, then you get this out of the way, and then you can pull with your arm. Because there is a pull. You have to pull it. Like, I hear anybody says you have to pull the disc. But you're pulling from here. Instead of pulling from turning your body... Then once this crosses this plane, then you get that. And that's why I feel like I've always been really good at throwing really hard and hitting the gap. Yeah. Because my disc never leaves the line. So as long as my, like, release angle is good, I'm hitting, like, the first gap. Like, very rarely, knock on wood, do I, like, hit the first tree. Yeah. But it's because there's not much that can happen from here to there. Now there's alignment and on the tee, and you probably have that pretty much figured out. You're just having this, like, struggle, because from right there, you and I aren't that much different in these positions. Mm-hmm. Like, our form, like, if you took a picture of me, a picture of you, like, it's not that much different. But then the next 3 frames, it's like a whole different person, and it's like that's where we're like we're gonna work on, because you do have a lot of good positioning here. That, like, now look at the disc, it's starting to, like, turn this way. Yep. And, like, you see a lot of, like, Adam Hammis does that. That's right. Who does that? But it's not definitely, like not good. Like, you don't want to change the plane of something. You want it to come out flat. Why would you have it here flat and then go like this just to make it flat again? Like, totally. So you're creating, like, a problem that you almost would rather this be down, like the back of the disc 100%. Be this way than this way. And that's actually one of the things I tried to work on in this session that I absolutely did not do. So, like, and you're pulling it, like, up towards your shoulder here versus, like, down. Does that make sense? Like, and now look at this position you're in. You're way forward. Your disc is up here, which you don't want it up there. Yeah. And then you go here, and now your elbow has passed, like, by a long shot, but you're still not, like, twisting your body. You see what I'm saying? Like, your disc is coming out nicely. Like, your elbow is way out ahead of your body, which is allowing it to be able to go this way, because you can't go through yourself. So it has to pass to get around, which you've done a good job of. But then you're still not, like, your hips are just now square to the target. Your eyes are closed, so you probably just don't want to see where it's going. Might be. For the first step, let's keep your eyes open. Unless you're asleep. Maybe you're sleep driving. This is the problem. You have your eyes closed.
If that's the only problem, I don't need to pay you this much, dude.
So, when do you open them? Oh, there we go. How do you ever find your disc? You just hope it goes straight?
Luckily, I'm not throwing that short that it hits the ground before I open my eyes, but I appreciate you thinking that I am that weak,
So, I mean, I think that, like, a lot of this is really good. Yeah. And I think that is part of the reason I wanted to work with you, because it's not, like, a whole revamping. Like, I don't need to change everything you're doing. You have a lot of really good positions. But, like, we don't want to give up, like, if we get back to here, right? I don't want to give up this position that's really good. But I want to give up, like, all of that. This, like, everything from there to literally, like, I mean, even I want that foot, like, I want those hips snapping through. To where, like, that leg, and again, it's hard to tell because it's not down the line. So maybe it's a little more towards us or towards the target than I think it is. But I just feel like that leg back there being heavy and dead is like gonna be very hard to combat because it's not like you're a big person, so you're not creating a bunch of like whip or like Eagle like creates so much whip because he's so big. AB like he throws it so far because he has great form and great technique, but he's also so big. It's like if you were to sling something out of a little stick and a huge stick, like one's gonna go further, and so it's like you just like myself and Emerson, like you need to use more of your body efficiently than like getting away with that. Like that's something we could clean up. That like because even here, your whole arm, like your arm and your foot are like on the same plane. Like they're both back there. It's like one of those things. Like your body doesn't work like that. Like if you're running, 100%. But like you're not trying to run, you're going this way with your body parts, like. Well,
when you're running, your body also doesn't work like that because it's the opposite foot.
Yeah. Well, so is this. It's your right foot and your left leg.
Oh, it is.
But I'm just saying, like, those positions...
No, because when you're running, one's in front, one's in the back. And so if both were in back, it'd be weird.
Yeah.
It'd be like a weird anime thing.
You should be having this up here, and then you should be having, like, that back there being fine, because you have to follow through. But, like, you shouldn't still be having the front half and the back half of your body have a 40-pound limb back there. That's a lot to like combat with just your spine in the middle. So it's like a lot of this is like us realizing like and it goes all the way to there where your body parts are like in sync. And you would more so want like this to be like this, but this foot to be up here. And there's a video I actually sent to Michaela that I wanted to like show you because I thought it was a pretty good like explanation of like what I'm saying.
Sure.
Okay, so this video. So this is like OTB open, the basket's really right here. So I'm throwing a mid-range, maybe 200 feet. So like more of the story is like I'm not throwing it hard. But like I want you to see how like my throw is like just in sync. Like where it goes isn't I made birdie, but it's rare birdie.
Oh my god.
Like right here, like look at my body, like my legs are over here, my arms already like recoiled from throwing. I'm extended the other way. Like my hips are pointed, literally 90 degrees right of the target.
Yeah.
To where your hips, like, and my foot, look at where my foot leaves the ground. Like, off the ground there, and it's like out of my hand. And I'm throwing it from like a low position. So I'm using like my elbow through those like spaces. And I think that is like what I'm trying to explain to you is like, look at where my elbow is now. Probably right even with my rib cage. And then look at my hand almost disappears because my arm is coming around my body. Yeah. To where you're like trying to just like pull the disc through. This is like I'm using my body to like go, if that makes sense. So like now the disc is like out of my hand a couple feet, right? Look at my belt buckle's pointed right at the target. And my foot's way off the ground. And none of these body parts, as these get to where you were, this one quickly comes. I mean, by the time the disc is 30 feet out of my hand, I've already uncoiled my body. Yeah. And so now we go here and, we're in a good position. But, like, never at any point in this throw, look at my head position too. Like, I might be leaning a little forward, but I'm also, like, trying to get this in a good position. I'm trying to obviously hit this little gap. So I'm trying to, like, kind of push the disc up a little bit. But just this thing, because it's, like, people want to look at their form when you're, like, trying to throw as hard as you can. So I wanted to show you this video as, like, look at my body is doing things I'm telling you to do on a shot that I'm literally throwing 30% power. I mean, like, I only used a mid-range here because I wanted to get to the left. Yeah. So it's like, but like, look at where I'm pulling from. Right through the middle. And like, that position looks weird. Like, it looks like I'm like nose up, but obviously it's like just coming out flat. Yeah. Just like the disc is bending and whatever. But like right there, like, you're up here. Like, your disc would be like at my shoulder, with that throw that you're doing. So it's like, I'm coming from here up, which would be starting a lawnmower, right? Like, that's how you create power. You're coming from here down, which isn't very powerful. So
and also, like, those throws that we're looking at, too, were also, like, putter throws that were going, like, 330 to 350. So they had to be high as well. So even that is, like, worse. Nuts. Yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah. So it's like, but again, I'm just showing you this because, like, even if that is, like, a non-ideal position, which I see that, and obviously when I picked the video to show you, I kind of saw that, but, like, it proves my point even further that a position I don't like is actually helping my throw. Yeah. Like, I don't want to see that position so much. Like, I don't think it's bad. I think it's a good throw, and I threw it right where I wanted, and it was controlled, and everything was good about it. I just don't like the fact that it kind of looks like I'm, like, crunched up and nose up. But, like, for the shot I'm throwing, that's, like, what it calls for. And then here, I'm in perfect position. Yeah. My arm's out. This arm's kind of pushing back, which, like, creates a little more speed. And then we're excelling through the shot. And then, like I said, I don't like that you end up being all twisted, even with this foot. So, like, as you can see, like, this foot's coming around and my arm's releasing, like, at the same time. Like, you can see, like, I'm not twisting my spine all crazy. You know, and as you want to play more tournaments and play, I mean, I've played professional since 2004, you know, about to be 10 years next year. So it's like a lot of throws, a lot of practicing. Yeah. The more that you twist the wrong way, the more that you're going to have an injury.
I was thinking like the longevity aspect is even important with that.
And so again, I just think that like from where you are in like this off arm, you know, being in this, you asked about the off arm. Like here, we're in like a pretty similar position with our off arm, but then mine is like way high and out. I haven't seen the like that form from like the back. I'm only seeing it from this side. I'll show you. Does that make sense? Yeah, so I'm not really seeing like where it is. As well, just so we can have some of that. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not saying this is like my throw is perfect because I don't think it is, but like all the positions I'm telling you to do, like I'm in. I'm doing it like in a tournament, OTB Open. Like I'm not telling you something that I'm not like utilizing myself. And as you can see here too, one thing I want to focus on is like, look how far out my reach back is. Like, and as I turn, look at my hips and my shoulders, like turning. I'm not pulling the disc yet, right? That's look. It's just kind of being dragged. It's being dragged because you're holding onto it. Because I'm holding it, it has to go somewhere. But like you're pulling the disc 100%. Where I'm, like I was saying, turning my body, and the disc has to follow. Then at some point you see where I still haven't pulled the disc. I'm just turning my body, and at some point right here, this frame to the next 2 or 3 is where I'm throwing it. But I'm never like pulling on the disc. And so I'm keeping it on line. And one thing you do good is it seems like you don't round. You know, you don't get behind yourself, which is like the biggest, hardest habit to break. But people try to throw further and they think that's the thing. So again, pretty good, right? Like you're holding the disc, which is fine. Pretty big step there, which isn't the end of the world, but and then kind of a hoppy thing, which again, Macbeth does that, like that's fine. We don't like, again, I want to nitpick you from all the way extended back, like here, where in the other video looked like you're in a good position, to through. Right here, I mean, like I said, look at those feet. And I think this is what I noticed a couple days before Drew actually texted me about this, is look where my foot is here. And look how it shifts backwards. It goes even more. Like shifts, and it's not great, but like I don't think it's as bad. And then it like shifts another 30 degrees. And then, so like here, you can see like that, you're not pushing, like you can look at your leg muscles. From right here on, you're not even using that leg anymore. It's just there. And now, here it comes, drag. You can see your other leg like flexed as crap. And this leg's just like along for the ride. But, I mean, it's not like it's light, you know, it's 1/4 of your body weight or something down there. Probably more. Like, a lot of weight's in my legs. But that's what I'm saying. So you're just dragging that leg, and then now your arm, you know, is like way inside. So where my disc was, you can't even have your disc because your arm's in the way. You would hit your own wrist. You see what I'm saying? Like mine's down here, so I can pull through here. You're like this, so of course. So one of the things I noticed the first time I ever took my form, which was April of last year, which is like 3 months into playing or something, I noticed, because I just looked at it, that I do the same thing with this off arm, which I don't know if it's like as big of a thing, but like it gets so wide, and then I kind of like. But that's fine because again, you're trying to swing, right? So if you're trying to, you have something heavy, you don't want to swing it from here. If I was going to hit you with it, I'd want to swing it, right? So you swinging a extremity, just like I'm telling you not to leave your leg behind, that's okay. But it needs to be like out of the way still. Like, and when it comes in, it's more so than I guess the question of. Like it needs to be. Because it always comes like through here, and I've never seen anyone who throws super well in this position. Well, again, because if it's in this position, if you're a human and you go like this, that's where you want to throw. Step one. You want to throw from here. So no one that throws good or far has their arm here because it's literally in the way of what you want to do. So it's like you're putting yourself again in a position from this position here where it's a little too much tilted, like the disc is a little too. I think this one is because I'm throwing like a pretty deep hyzer flip. I'm just saying like even then like I can still be in a position and then throw like. Totally. But and then now look at you're up here like this with this arm in the way, like you're literally throwing like this. So it's like that's a hard position to like create power. So you need to get, and even here now you can see how far you're leaning forward. and this leg is doing nothing. Right now, that leg, it's off the ground, or close to off the ground, which is good, but it's not like actually doing anything for you. Yeah. Because and then there's off the ground, your arm's still in the way. Yeah. And all you've done is pull the disc. Because look at your hips. Your hips are like not even going anywhere until almost there.
It's kind of the opposite, where like your hips and shoulders, you just hold onto the disc and it pulls. And I pull the disc, and my hips have to rotate.
Yeah, they have to because your upper body's turning. Yeah, you can only turn so far until your hips start to have to go. Yeah. So
it's kind of the opposite of what you want.
Yeah, so you want to like coil and use the strongest part of your body would be your back, your abs, your core, right? Like your core of your body is how you be the strongest. So you want to use that to whip around to where you're using like I'm pulling and I'm throwing, so I'm gonna pull and throw. Yeah, which is fine if you're gonna like have an 80-foot upshot. Like Yeah. But like if you want to have like distance and control, you need to have more than just like I'm using my arm. Because I don't care who you are, your arm isn't the only way. And then here you're having to like sling off the tee. Yeah. In order to like, use that energy. So all that energy right here that just went off the end of the tee is energy that could have went into the disc. Like I can airdrop you photos of me where I'm literally like throwing it almost as hard as I can. And I'm almost like going backwards. Like I'm throwing and like I'm like backwards because all the energy went into the disc and it's like almost like a gun, right? Yeah. The bullet goes that way, the gun goes this way, you know? So it's like I'm doing it to where it's like to the tune of like almost going backwards. Yeah. And again, not saying that's the only way to do it, but it's like
I think that's what most people right now are talking about, like the brace, like what that is being talked about. Because if you brace everything into the ground there, then it goes through the ground, up your legs, and into the disc, and then you can't, like, fall off the tee pad like that. Which I like pulling this one up because this is, like, when I'm, like, trying to throw my max distance golf shot instead of, like, a controlled golf shot. Because, like, I mean, that's one of the farthest throws that I do throw. But
so, like, this video is from that same day, same round, off a tee pad, but it's just a buzz shot, like another hold OTB. But, like, again, here... we could take all these same good properties. Right from right there, both my feet are kind of angled at each other. And then as they go, look at my feet, bam, pointed almost the same direction. Yeah. And then here you could see where I'm like, there I'm using my arm a little more because I'm like trying to throw it hard. But you can see I'm like pushing, look at my leg. Like you could see my like calf muscle like flex like off the ground there. Like I've obviously used all my leg's power that it has to offer. But then as the disc is a couple feet out of my hand, I'm already up and off and going out. And like, look at my body. Yeah. Like, all the energy went into the disc. Look at, I'm throwing and I'm back on the tee. Yeah. Like my body is going back around to where you would have like went off the end of it. Yeah. Which is, again, not a bad.
I'd be in the water right now probably.
You'd be OB for sure. The rocks might have stopped you. But again, that goes to show like, I'm using a little bit more arm. And this is a 430-foot hole at the mid-range. So, I'm trying pretty hard. But like you can see, like, my arm's out of the way. Yeah. That pocket's open. My head is still look at my head. Like, I'm direct. My shoulders and my head are right in this. I'm not doing this or this or this. Like, you can see the whole side of my face. Like, I've used all my energy out of my leg. Boom. Energy out of the leg's gone. And the disc is still in my hand. And you can see right there. That's like a pretty good view. Like, I'm turning. Like I'm not like pulling with my arm anywhere. Like, my arm's already in this position, so I can't pull it any further. I'm turning my body and my hips and my shoulder, and that right there is like what is propelling the disc. And I'm not obviously pulling any further, so it's like, there we go. Like now my body, my spine, my hips almost stay in the same spot, and I threw, and then now follow through. And remember how you were like, way like right there I'm in that similar position. I think a lot of it, like I go from my heel to my front toe and over the tee pad. Yeah, and you just kind of like you stay behind your heel almost. Yeah, and I stay because that's again I'm trying to get everything into the disc. Yeah, where I go doesn't. This isn't a competition how far off the tee you could go. So
I would win that.
You would. You and James Conrad.
I'd crush you, dude. He would beat me. He's got those 11 inches, but. He'd also beat me.
11 inches goes a long way. But no, like, I'm just, again, and this isn't like, I'm not using this as like, oh, this is perfect throw. Like, this is like mid-tournament, like trying to make a birdie throw. Like, I'm not trying to make it pretty. But that's like my point to you is like, none of these are bad positions.
Yes.
And even there, like, the disc is below my elbow, you know?
Yep.
And my wrist is curled because it has to be, but it's not like this. Like, yours is like holding it like that, and then you're having to go here and open it just to come back to close. So I'm keeping my, like, if we look at my wrist the whole way, right? Like, I have it up there, and then it goes there, and it extends a little bit, but only because it's getting prepared to be pulled.
Yeah.
So, and then as we get back to here, look at this wrist. Like, from there all the way until release, that wrist is like this. It's the same platform. So we need to focus, and even there, like, look at my wrist still. It's still like that. Like, we need to focus on getting those angles. And in that follow through, look, so there's my back leg and my, but I actually used my leg. You know, like, your leg is, yours are back there, and it's just like you're dragging one and the other.
My leg also right here would be, like, if this is the angle, my leg would be here.
Yeah.
It would be behind me instead of
mine's
forward.
Mine's going forward.
Yeah, it's driving forward instead of
and so, like, and then you see, like you said, like, driving forward, like, there's my kneecap going to the target.
Yeah.
Like, mine has a purpose, to where yours is just kind of like, oh, I gotta go because the rest of my body went.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we need to work on, like, and then even there, you know, mine goes all the way back to there. That's not, I didn't know anyone was filming. Like, that's not me, like, trying to do that. Like, that's just my throw. So it's like, we need to focus on, like, instead of going up and forward and out, which is where you were going, you were, like, ending over here.
Yeah.
We get that, like, body into the disc, and then if your body still goes forward, fine. Like, that.
A lot of people fall through like that, but they have a full brace at the disc.
Yeah, they, like, use the power.
Like, if you didn't turn back on yourself there, you maybe could have gone off the front. If it was flat, and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But it just is, like, where your body feels comfortable ending because it is completely balanced.
Well,
where I have to move forward.
And again, look at, like, no part of this is my spine. Like, right there. Look at my head, my spine. Like, everything is, like, on top of each other.
It's stacked,
Yeah, and I'm never, like, out of control. Like, and you could see I kind of, like, you could see my head height here. You know, it lowers. You know, obviously it's because I have a wide step and I'm starting to use my legs. Like, right there, you know, you can see, like, I'm really getting into the shot. Like, those 3 or 4 frames, like, I'm okay, like, bracing. And I never really have, like, a straight leg, I would say. You know, my leg always has, right there, it's probably the straightest, but it's still, it's, like, athletically planted. And, like, in this throw, in this position, you're not pushing me over. You know, like, you're never going to come up and be like, oh, haha, got you. Like, you are in, like, a position for half the throw where, like, I could push you over, like, 3 different directions, like we were talking about. You know, so here, like, even when I am leaning forward, like, and I'm starting to twist, I'm still not actually, like, off axis.
I think this is one thing I noticed about my form recently as well, that I think is because you're leaning forward, you're not just, like, leaning forward, you're hinged at the hips in, like, kind of a move that you'd see in somewhat, like, in some position of a deadlift, you'd see that. And it's, like, so you're still, like, braced in your body, whereas with my form, I was noticing this is one of the other things, I have, like, a big note of, like, things I need to work on that I'm going to be able to scrap now that you're just going to teach me how to throw a disc good. But if you look at this, like, when I'm leaned, like, forward, I'm not in that position because this isn't hinged over.
Yeah, you're just like this. You're just like, okay, I'm
It's just
here.
kind of sat and, like, up instead of, like, athletically, like, over.
Well, and I think that's the thing. Like, that's the difference between mine and yours right here.
Yeah.
Nothing is, like, bad, but your arm's in the way.
Yeah.
You know, here. So you have to go higher than you want. Your disc is above your elbow.
When do you think about your arm going? And do you think your off arm generates power or just gets out of the way so that you can have the power?
So I used to throw like Garrett when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like and so I put my hand in my pocket. And so that position, because I knew that was out of the way.
Yeah.
And I just, after I was comfortable that my hand wasn't going to go up there anymore, I just kind of let it do where it wanted, but with the training of like, be at the side if you're going to go anywhere. Yeah. So, again.
So do we grab like duct tape on our way home today?
Yeah, and just tape it to you.
I thought about making that a thumbnail of a video at some point, just when I worked on it.
But, yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, even right there, like, you could tell how far forward you are. You know, and, like, again, there's the disc out of your hand, and your leg is, like, way back here.
Way back there,
like, still arguably on the ground.
Oh, my gosh.
But, like, so here, bam.
Yeah.
You know, like, off the ground, disc still on my hand. Yours is, like, arguably still, you know, in the air when your foot's on the ground.
Yeah. And
then quickly there. So yours is like a, you know, we talked about just like dead weight being pulled through, which again, isn't a total problem if we get you to throw 550 and that's still like the nitpick we have. Like my form, I watch this in slow-mo and I'm like, ooh, but like I know that it's just like the way it has to look to throw. Like I know my form is really good, and I know that like mechanically and like autonomously.
Anatomically?
How your body works?
Yeah.
There we go. Whatever.
I think that's what it is.
I'm not a scientist. But it's like the best way my body can...
Anatomically. That's what it is.
What did I say? Autonomously?
Yeah.
That's like automatic driving,
and
right?
then I said animatonically.
Just cut that out.
We're both really dumb.
That's why I play disc golf for a living.
That's why I make videos.
I guess the moral of the story is like, if we're going to nitpick one thing, I don't want it to be your like follow through. If that makes sense. Like, I want it to be your head, these other positions, your shoulders, your reach back, your arm in the way. Like, those are the things that I want to like go through. And then if we can get your foot up off the ground and working well, then cool. If not,
but like, also like more likely than not, it's naturally what's going to happen if everything else.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if my body like not one of these positions is a position where for 0.1 seconds of the throw, you're like, oh, that looks uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You're in this position where like that's uncomfortable. Like you're like pulling here and your arms here, like even sitting like this is like it hurts like the back right side of my back. Like so, there's no point here. I know. But there's no point where I'm like out of a position that you're... And even right there, my arm might be a little bit in the way. But like, obviously I'm clearing it.
Yeah.
And your disc should never be right there. Like, anyways.
It's out anyways.
Yeah, so it's out. Like, so it's really not in my way. From this angle, it looks like, oh, it might be a little close, but it's not even close. But then here we go, like I said, twisting, twisting, twisting. There we go. I never pulled the disc. You know, so from here... And right there, I start pulling, but you can literally see that my elbow is leading. Like, my elbow's way out there. Then I start, like, getting into it. Yeah. So, we need to work on this, your head positions, and get your shoulders a little more
Do you think there's an order of operations?
I think it's whatever we think, or you think that would be easiest for you to fix. That way we can, like, chip away, because there's going to be something that you and you're going to be like, I can't do it. So... I say we fix whatever you think, like, hey, this is the easiest habit to break, and then we can, like, build on the hard stuff, if that makes sense. That way we get the most amount of... There's 100 things, and say you're doing 5 wrong. Let's fix 3 easy ones, and then we can work on the 2 hard ones. I don't want to save the things, because then if we're teaching you your head, but your feet are still messed up, we can fix your feet in 5 seconds. It's counterintuitive. Totally. So I want the most good things going on as possible as we work on this. So even if we have a couple thousand throws in the next week, you're at least having good practice on some of these things. Yeah. Like, I don't want to do it where it's like, oh, let's pick the hardest. So totally. Again, but like, look at my shoulders here. Like, I'm bent at the waist, so my shoulders look like they're pitched, but it's only because I'm bent. And then they never actually leave like a bad plane, you know.
That's interesting. I haven't heard anybody put it like that. I've heard people talk about like shoulder angle before. But it's never that the shoulder angle is perfectly relative to the hips, because that's what it is with your throw. Yeah. Is like they're not pitched against your hips. Yeah. But because your hips move. Yeah. Because if they're pitched against them, then
if I go like this, right, tightness, and I go here, my shoulders aren't pitched. It's like a golfing position. Yeah. I'm not hitting the ball.
Well, a better example is if one of your knees is clear and one of them is down.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like in general, if I go like this, I'm not actually hunched over. I'm like braced, like. This is slumped. Yeah. This isn't, like... So it's like there's certain positions in sports that, like, you can look out of position, but if you look at the other positions of the body, you're actually in position. Like, if right here I was up and down, I would be out of position because I'm, like, bent and then like this. Like, that's uncomfortable.
You have a lot of T-spine flexion there.
So it's like, you know, here, and then, like I said, look at my hip angle and look at my shoulder angle. Like, almost perfect. Yeah. You know, and so I'm, like, not actually in a... I'm like, my whole body is moving. And right there you can see I'm braced into my front leg. Yeah. I'm pushing off this back one. And then we go, bam, done. But again, those shoulders are there the whole way. Yeah. And then as the shoulders turn, look at my hips. They're literally turning together. Yeah. And then my shoulder, my left shoulder, my left hip are like connected. Yeah. So it's like we need to like get you to be more connected in a... I think I might have a pretty good picture of this, actually. But to get you to be more connected in the sense of, like, where you're at and, like, how that body's turning, but, like, what parts are turning and why. And that's what I was telling you. It's like, I think you understand, like, well, I want to watch so-and-so's form. Like, you understand what, but you don't understand, like, actually why. Like, why that feel actually works.
That's one of the things that one of the reasons why I really wanted to work with you and, like, do this is because... like in that position, you can tell me like how my body's supposed to feel.
Yeah.
Like what parts of my muscles are supposed to be firing and what aren't. Like in a way that like some people wouldn't be able to, because like you throw as farther than I might ever be able to throw, but I want to aspire to be able to throw that far.
Further than you'll ever.
I'm gonna throw farther than you. I'm gonna throw it.
690 is your goal.
700. What are you talking about?
I'm rooting for you.
More realistically than not, I'm never gonna be able to throw that far. But it's like something that's aspirational, and so if you're at a place that's further than I'll ever be, I'll be able to go for you for like to be like, okay, what is this supposed to feel like? And it makes sense.
And the thing is it's with anything. If you want to be better at video editing, maybe you look at Casey Neistat. Like you don't look at someone like worse than you.
Yeah.
You know, in form, again, it's a lot of it is relative.
Totally.
Like I'm not sitting here telling you that, oh, well, you need to look like me. Like I don't want you to look like me. I want you to look like you, but I want you to have proper technique in the way your body works. Like I'm not making up how your body works because I already know how it works. So it's like for me, I want you to be in XYZ position, not for me, but for you to understand why that works and why that's a valuable position that you need to be in order to actually like accomplish your goal. Because that's a big part of this whole thing is you not only understanding but seeing why. So like look at this is the picture I was showing you. Braced, both my feet are pointed at each other, like down the line. Up here, my arms out of the way. My disc is below my elbow. Like, but my wrist isn't like bent.
No, it's just here.
You know,
just holding it.
Yeah, just holding it. But like, I'm not in any bad position there. Look at, my head, I'm just about to pull through. It's like I'm just starting, my head and my shoulders are just starting to go. But like, that is like a perfect position. Like if you put that in like a form magazine, that would be like the video. So, but that is like the ideal positioning right there. We're like, and again, the disc is like a little below my elbow, but not because I'm being lazy. It's just comfortably there. And like I said, I want that from you instead of this. Like if we're going to have the disc go one way, I want it this way. Because it's easier. Your arm is naturally going to correct that.
Well, that's also, when I was talking earlier in the car about internal external rotation, that's a lot of what that is. Because when you throw from an internally, like your shoulders internally rotated here to out. And if you pitch the disc like this, then you're externally rotating. And it's hard to go, when you're going fast, from external rotation back to internal rotation, back to external rotation. Instead of just staying.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I want the disc. And that's why, like, if you see some of my videos or some of my older throws, I used to kind of like roll the disc. Yeah. Into like, I'd go like this, into like my reach back, because I wanted to focus on like the disc being this way. Yeah. If anything, never that way. Like, I never want to see the back of your hand pointed anywhere other than like, or at least at worst flat. Yeah. Because here, I'm pretty flat. Yeah. But I never want you to be like this, because even just that positioning, like, you have to do that, you have to start like leaning this way. I can go like this, as far as I want leaning this way. Yeah. As soon as you start turning that, it pulls your body that way, because it's external, so your body is rotating, which rolls the whole body. So you're making it like I was telling you, like, it's only as hard as you make it, but you're making it like difficult. Yeah. So it's like, we need to work on these things, but I don't think any of it is like, even just this video and showing this, like, if you rewatch this, it would like teach you a lot of stuff. Yeah, but like, it's about having the positions, and like, I think that you being here versus like you watching my throw, like, you wouldn't understand like, oh, his shoulders are like this, but it's like, you wouldn't even looked at my hips to see that, oh, look, they're the exact same. Just like when I stand here, my hips and my shoulders are the exact same. Like, but if people don't realize that when they're like analyzing form, they're just like, oh, look, so-and-so does this. It's like, okay, but like,
it's hard because when you're looking at form, you're thinking about like the 1 to 3 things that you like actively know you need to work on, and you're looking at that, and you're thinking about that in isolation from how the rest of your body can be moving. Yeah. And like, that's how I've gone about it, and like tried to be more holistic with it. But even then, like, there's things that you've said in this conversation that like hit me for the first time. Yeah. Like, even my arm coming in, and that doesn't allow the disc to come in down at the bottom. I'm like, oh, maybe if I don't do that, maybe that automatically clears that plane. And it's just like things that you don't automatically think about. And then like to have also just to be here, so like you can literally put me into positions that I need to be in, is just gonna be so helpful. Yeah, no, and I think that a lot of this stuff is the same thing like golf, right? Like, what happens is people get in a bad position and their brain goes, hit the ball. So your body like does all this weird stuff to hit the ball still, but like you're not making good contact. Yeah. So your body knows, okay, he wants to throw the disc. Yeah. I'm gonna throw it even though this is in the way. I'm not gonna hit that because he doesn't want to hit that, and he still wants to throw it. So your body, like your brain is so advanced, it like knows how to fix that stuff. But like,
It only knows how to fix it because it's like your whole nervous system.
Yeah, it only knows how to fix it because you aren't in a position that it doesn't have to fix it.
Yeah.
Like, it has to.
So, like, that's the thing. Like, all of my body positions here are all, like, natural athletic.
Yeah.
Right there, I could play infield baseball. I could run. I could jump. Like, now there is a little stretched, but still I field a ground ball like that.
Yeah.
With my feet together, like, your feet, like, you're not even going to field a ground ball with your feet like that. So, like, that's a position that would be used in a sport. And then here, like, I'm never out of a position, you know. And if you watch this,
you're just never out of balance. Like, balance is so important. And I'm like,
you watch this whole video here, and like in real time, and it's just so smooth.
Yeah. Like you said, it's just as simple as you make it.
Yeah, there's nothing like that could have been out of control there, you know. And it's like that's what I want to like stress to you is like even you just accidentally stopped it there, but it's like everything is like symmetrical. And again, I'm maybe a little forward. Like, if we're going to nitpick it.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm not forward in the terms of, like, form.
Yeah.
Like, your, like, whole body is... My hips are almost backwards. But it looks like I'm forward because the angle of the video and I'm, like, bent at the waist. Yeah. But, like, that video is, like, the perfect representation. Again, just like what I showed you from the same run earlier. Though it's soft, my feet still do the same thing. I'm still off the ground. I'm still pulling the same way. Like, whether I throw it hard or I'm throwing it soft, like... my form is relatively the same. And it's like, that's what we need to get you to do is where you're out of your own way and your form is like working for you, not against you.
Yeah, we talked about this in the car too, but my main thought of like what form, like the essence of like what form is and why you're trying to do it, like the skill of disc golf and form is like allowing your body to have the most efficient transfer of energy. Cause like you have all the muscles that you have in your body and they can be used in a way that like helps you throw the disc farther. Or doesn't, and your form or the skill of throwing is going to be the thing that like gives you that higher efficiency percentage, and so that's kind of what you're working towards. But also the thing I talked about here that I talk about a lot with Gannon, that like he was telling me specifically like the arm thing, not in context of the whole body, but like he was saying that just for like the point of consistency. Like here, it's a very repeatable, consistent thing, whereas like being off balance and correcting isn't going to be inherently less consistent. Than doing that, and so like. Even if I don't throw farther, which, like, I don't think there's any way that my form gets better and I don't throw farther, but even if you don't, if I'm able to hit lines and gaps and all my shots 60, 70%, like, better or more consistently, it's still a win.
Well, that's what I was telling you in the car. I'm not telling you you're going to come here and you're going to throw 50 feet further. What I'm telling you is that you're going to be more comfortable throwing at a higher percentage, which then makes the disc go further. Because now maybe you see a tight gap and you go, well, crap, I can only throw 60% through here, or else I might shank it early release. Now I want to get you to go look at that gap and see 80%. And go, if I had to, I can rip it at 100.
Yeah.
Most gaps on tour, if you made me, I would be comfortable throwing it 100% through that gap. Full power grip, I mean, as hard as I can. But, like, that is why I throw far, because people on coverage, it's like there's a meter of, you know, how hard did he try?
Yeah.
But there are some times where I lace the gap 500 feet down there, and I did try damn near as hard as I can.
Yeah.
And it's like I was comfortable doing that in a tournament setting because I've built the process to work. You know, it's just like if you're building a house, right? Foundation, blah, 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 blah. But, like, at the end, you want to turn on the lights and have them work. But that starts, like, way before you put up the drywall. Like, you know, so it's like we have to build this to where, like, it works at the end. But also, like, not only does one light work, all the lights work. But sometimes you only need one.
Yeah.
But, like, we need to make sure that all of them can fire. That way we have 100% in the tank. Where now, you know, I haven't even seen you throw since Preserve. But, like, I can tell you I couldn't take you, say, hey, throw 100% 5 times and it'd be the same flight. Like, I already know that. So it's like, and 100% is extreme, but let's get you to 70, 80, 85, and then you're going to throw further just by osmosis. And now you have a good form to work on. You haven't been playing less than 2 years. Like, to go 550 feet or whatever in 2 years is, like, very incredible in the first place. I mean, there's people on tour that don't throw 550 feet and play their whole life.
Well, let's make it happen first. I got 3 months.
So, but I'm just saying, like, if that goal is, like, obtainable for us or for you or for whatever, then that's an impressive goal or, like, feat already in itself. So, I know people on the channel probably doubted you and thought you're crazy for throwing
People told me to stay in MA1.
Yeah.
People like to talk.
I know
especially you, Drew.
Someone commented on my putt the other day.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, how many Pro Tours have you won? But yeah, so let's go to the field. We got to go to the post office. Let's go to the field. And
we're gonna have a whole week. It's Monday. We're gonna be here. We'll probably be able to have a little bit of a morning session Friday. But at least 3 full days, and then today will be a half day. And
well, we have the garage too.
We do, yeah.
So I mean, that could be a full day. I mean, he doesn't know how time works. Just because it's dark outside doesn't mean the garage lights don't work.
I didn't know you paid the light bill, or you didn't pay the water bill.
I didn't pay the water bill. So. I paid the wrong company.
Yeah, you tried to pay the water bill. You just didn't pay the water bill.
And I paid $170 too much.
Oh no. But
it wasn't me.
This is gonna be a big series. I'm gonna catalog the whole thing here, and we're also gonna have a video on Drew's channel that he's forcing me to make for him at gunpoint. That is gonna be about just
there are guns here, so be careful.
I know. That's why I said that. But about his perspective of doing this as like the coach, and this will obviously be all my perspective. It's my channel. I make the rules. But it'll probably be, I think it's either gonna be like a 7 or 10 part series.
This is?
Probably.
Well, this video is gonna be 48 minutes long.
We gotta go to the post office.
Later, guys. Tax season.